I am delighted to welcome representatives from two of the organizations in the HundrED network that work in early childhood development, especially within the African context. So please help me welcome Alex and Raymond from Kidogo and Eleanor and Aisha from Lively Minds. So I'm going to turn it over now to Alex and Eleanor to share a couple of words about their organizations and what they do.
Wonderful, and thank you everyone for joining. I'll kick things off with sharing a bit about Kidogo. So Kidogo, which for those of you who speak Swahili are probably chuckling because it means small, but Kidogo is a social enterprise in Kenya, unlocking the potential of young children by supporting women, who we call mamapreneurs, to grow quality, affordable childcare centers in their own communities. In our Kidogo network, we have now nearly 2,000 mamapreneurs reaching over 55,000 children, and our ambition is to scale this to 1 million children by 2032. At the core of our work is a simple belief: when women thrive, children thrive, and whole communities flourish. I'll pass it over to Eleanor now.
Thank you, Alex. So I am here representing Lively Minds today with my colleague Aisha. Lively Minds is an NGO that's working in Ghana and in Uganda in rural districts. So our program focuses on a very similar vibe to Kidogo. We focus on supporting women of rural communities to bring quality early childhood development opportunities to their children. And we do this through delivering a parenting course, which the mothers, you don't have to be a mother, you just have to be a woman in the rural community. They enroll in the parenting course to learn about how to deliver better holistic and learning opportunities to their children at home. And they also come into the school environment when there is one to deliver small group play schemes, and when there isn't one, that's delivered through a different model. But basically what we're trying to do is we build those stronger connections between home and school and parenting, and are reaching over 300,000 children now and 130,000 mums in rural Ghana and in rural Uganda. Thank you. Okay, so why do parents matter in early childhood development? It seems very obvious, but it isn't to many. In fact, if you bring it down to the basics, young children living in lower income settings often spend 75 to 80% of their time at home. And in fact, in communities where there is no school, no kindergarten provision, no early years setting, that will be a higher percentage. So there's an enormous amount of time that they are with their parents, and both Kidogo and Lively Minds believe that that time can be better utilised by supporting parents with all the opportunities that we're about to discuss. So number one, children simply spend more time with their parents. Number two, school provision, when it is available, is often not of the standard that we would like. So although some communities do have kindergarten provision, so early years settings, they still might have very large classes. They might have teachers who are untrained in the early years. They might have been primary or even secondary, and then they've been asked to teach the younger children, which is a huge jump for them. So there is no guarantee that even if there is this provision, that the quality of teaching they will receive will give them that really great foundation and that start in life.
Yeah, and in addition, the parent support is so critical. Studies have shown that parent support can deliver at minimum 4 months of additional learning. So just having that parent support and parents engaged with their children is having such incredible benefits on child learning and development outcomes. As well, it secures strong relationships, language skills, and really helps set kids up for success. As we all know, 90% of brain development happens in these first five years. So if a child has strong parent relationships, engagement, and attachments during these critical development window, they're going to be on a better track for the rest of their life.
So we both Kidogo and Lively Minds have reflected with our teams, and we both have extensive members of our team who work in the communities, supporting parents, supporting mums, to say, what do you think the biggest barriers are to parents integrating into their children's learning, into early years, into supporting them, and what stops them? And so what stops them, A, supporting their children's learning, and B, what might stop them also integrating into early years programs, or a program that might be asking them to do a little bit more in terms of early years provision, or working with the school more, or whatever, what is it that stops them basically? And through collating all of the feedback we got from all of our team, we summarized them into 5 different areas, which you can see on the screen here. So mindset, confidence, and motivation can certainly be a barrier. Cultural and social norms, so the way that things are expected to be, can be quite a challenge to challenge that. Time, workload, competing priorities, simply finding this misconception perhaps that a huge amount of time is needed to make these changes, so that can be difficult. The actual knowledge, skills, and access to resources to make the changes that people think they need to do better early years provision. And then actual systemic and institutional gaps in recognition of early years as an area that really needs its own development, financing, and so on. So these are the 5 areas that we have identified that can stop successful integration of early years provision from parents. Now, Alex, do we go to the poll now? I think Alex is going to continue. We have a poll now. Thank you, Alex. But we want to hear from you today, our audience. This is very much an interactive webinar where you are all going to be telling us what you would like. So just take a moment to reflect on your organization, your work, your interests, and which one of these do you think is the biggest is the biggest challenge for you? Actually, I'm looking at Alex, the way Alex has laid it out. Sorry, that's my misconception there about the way the poll was going to go. So the first one is, which one do you think is the least important to your work? And then moving up to which one do you think is the most important, as in the biggest barrier? And then we're going to ask you, please, to choose the one that you would like us to explore in depth today. And then we're going to choose the top 3 out of those. You will get all of our notes and our thinking about all 5 in follow-up notes, but for today we're just going to take the time to explore 3, but we want you to lead the way. So if you could just take a moment and complete that, and I imagine Alex says we'll take a few minutes. I don't know if you've got any yet, and then that will decide where we go next. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll give just a couple of minutes for the answers to come through. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll now, and let's talk about what we have. So going to share the results. You all should be able to see it right now. So it looks like the ones that are most impactful in our context overall are going to be knowledge, skills, and access to resources, as well as cultural and social norms. And we kind of have a bit of a tie between the time workload and competing priorities, as well as mindset and motivation. So if we go down and look at the other ones, the ones we want to hear about, cultural and social norms, knowledge, skill, and access to resources, and then once again, a time behind these other 2. So what I'm going to invite us all to do now is to head into breakout rooms and have a really quick conversation about how these barriers relate to your organization. So let's think in particular about cultural and social norms, time and workload, knowledge and skills, mindset. How does this interact with what you do? And what have you already done to try and address these barriers? I'll give you all 10 minutes in there, and I would hope that one of you will kind of work as a scribe for for your room to keep track of what the conversation is like so that we can share all together when we come back. So I'll send you all into breakout rooms now, and we will see each other back here in just 10 minutes. See you soon. All right. As we are welcoming everybody back, I hope you all had a great conversation in your rooms. We will be heading back in there shortly, but I wanted to take a moment to get some reflections from the participants. What were you all talking about? So I asked that one person per room would work as a scribe. Please take a moment and share a quick reflection into the chat. What were some of the major barriers? What did they look like for your organization? And we can have a quick conversation about that. So please take a moment to share into the chat. And if anybody would prefer to just say it out loud, you're also welcome to do that too. Please, if you would like to, you can unmute and share some reflections.
Well, I'll just say in our breakout group, I was with Aisha from Lively Minds, and a lot of the things they're doing with Lively Minds, we've just begun to do at Can You Connect with some of our expectant and new parents. And, it was kind of fun to hear that even though we're working in different countries, some of the similar things are there and the same barriers of parents. It's not the social norm that they think they're the teachers, but actually they are the first teachers, and equipping them with ideas, and especially ideas of what to do in low resource countries, that you don't need a lot of expensive toys. So it was just really wonderful hearing about her work in Ghana.
Yes, excellent. Thank you. And that's exactly what we hope for, right? So it's so exciting that Kenya Connect is branching out into this new region, and we hope that we can find some things to share. So I wonder if there were some other organizations that found something interesting, if anybody else. Gorana, please.
In our group, we discussed the importance of localization and to be basically as close as possible to local realities of parents. And I was speaking, I come from a Bebo parenting application team. It's UNICEF's parenting app that covers all topics from pregnancy till the age of 6. It is adapted and localized in 17 countries at the moment. And the way that, although the platform basically offers evidence-based knowledge, still, when it comes to country rollout, all materials are localized. So in collaboration with local partners and governments, we try to make the app really part of the system. So the way that, for example, it is presented to parents is usually through health workers. So when they come for an exam, a nurse basically explains to a parent, or in countries where there are visiting nurses, they also explain parents how to download this app. It works online and offline. So in terms of access, this is the way. And then Alex also mentioned also about importance of localization, of having a local person doing the training, but then also importance of not just a single training, but rather having a longer term training program and mentoring and coaching afterwards. So these are some of the things that we discussed.
Yeah, thank you so much. And Gorana, there's an ask in the chat if you can share the name, but that's Bebo, is that right? Yes. But yeah, please do share that in there. Oh, perfect. Ready to go. So one thing that really stuck out to me there is the thing about training, how it can't just be one time, how it needs to be ongoing. And one of the barriers that can pop up is making sure that parents come back for more training, that they are able to get this longer term exposure and not just one off. I think maybe you were talking about with the medical professionals and nurses in particular, but it's these train-to-trainer models often run into these kinds of situations where how do you make sure that there's enough coherence and sticking to it. So thank you for sharing this. And Joanna, you've got your hand up. Please go ahead and share.
Hi everybody, great to see you all. So I'm working with Ubuntu Education, and we have a hub for practitioners, education practitioners across Africa. We've got over 21,000 members, and we have an ECD network within that. So I'm a former ECD teacher, I'm a primary teacher myself. We had a great conversation in our very small breakout room with Esther, who's also on the call, who's a parent herself. She's joined today just to learn more, to listen in. So, and Esther, 100 points for you, kudos to you, because she was joining with her little one. So this is like the multitasking in real time. She suggested I feedback, but our conversation was mainly around confidence and motivation. So there's masses of motivation, but because of the time and workload challenges all parents are facing, that idea of trying to find out what it is you want to do, and an idea of doing the right thing or the wrong thing, not wanting to prepare your child in the wrong way, perhaps. So our conversation went on, and I talked a little bit to Esther about one of the pieces of work we do, which is around this idea of localization and encouraging parents very much. Encouraging teachers to encourage the parents that Indigenous knowledge is so valuable. So, however literate a parent may feel in the kind of confidence level, or however much formal education they have had, they have so much to give their child in terms of songs and games and interactions. So we do a lot around boosting teachers' confidence about using this as a really brilliant, sustainable resource that's right there, living in communities, songs and games, and then how to pair those with learning objectives that might be more formalized through an education system. So I know the majority here today around parenting, but our ECD angle kind of brings in some similar things, and it's really great to hear from everybody about what you're all doing. So thanks so much. And Esther, I hope that was all right. Jump in if there's more you want to say.
All right, Joanna, thank you so much for sharing. And Esther, I'm really glad that you are here. I think it's excellent that we have not just people that are in specifically early childhood development as imagined by Kidogo and Lively Minds, but also that we have the full spectrum that's here. Abdul, please.
Thank you. So we had a discussion, Ilona and I had a discussion regarding the confidence and motivation being a barrier to ACD. We also just had a chit chat. Ilona and I, Ilona is working with us in Lively Minds. She has been to the field. So I was just sharing some fair experience with her when it comes to some of the fathers, how are they engaged, or how they engage mothers, especially when it comes to motivating mothers to be part of the community when it comes to the parenting workshops and parenting courses. So we briefly just touched on, so I told her some experiences that I've had in the community that we've been able to, that I've visited during my previous year working in a different role as the news officer. We look at mothers, for example, some of them would have been, discouraged in a sense when it comes to taking care of their children, especially when it comes to promoting their education. But they feel like they don't have enough resources to do that, or parents don't have enough resources to do that. So they feel like it's just between the school and then the student. And whatever happens is just between the school and the student and not the parents. But with our interventions, we are trying so much to promote that kind of confidence that, yes, mothers, you can do it. And without even being in school as illiterate, you can still do it. You can go through the course. We have the parenting course. You can go through that parenting course that you can be able to motivate, give you that skill that you can be able to build your self-esteem to take care of these particular kids and all of that. We also touched on something brief regarding fathers encouraging mothers, or how do we see these cultural norms, especially where we have fathers just not letting the mothers play that role in terms of taking care of the children. We've realized that in some communities that our visitors to, most fathers are encouraging mothers to come for the parenting course, and all of that. We'd also touched on
I'm only going to pitch in, Hack, because we're in danger of going into the next bit of the
oh, okay, all right.
here.
So that's
so
fine.
we might.
All right, but Chui, I do see that you've got your hand up if you've got a brief comment that you'd like to share. Yes, we do have some more to talk about, but I'm also I love when when this part takes too long. So please, Chui, go ahead.
Thank you very much. I catch you on the way you are continuing. So my point on the issue of barriers to the organization is an issue of nutrition to children. If children doesn't get a proper food, sometimes it's difficult to catch up the lessons as well, to be more confident, but also to learning in a smoothly way. So I think that is better also from their families. They have a good nutrition, good meals also in a learning environment also they should have, and ensure that teachers or caregivers they understanding the importance of nutrition. Thank you very much. But before that, there is an issue of how do we solve. Usually we try to plant in our areas, plant especially there is a this kind of vegetables, as well as asking the parents to contribute. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I think that really speaks to how holistic all of these different barriers are, right? We didn't talk specifically about nutritional access, but in my understanding, I think that falls into one of the systemic barriers that didn't get as much traction during this. So it's very interesting. But now, I would love to turn it over to Aisha and Raymond, who are going to discuss how some of these barriers really interact. And so I think the first thing is the mindset, confidence, and motivation. So Raymond, would you speak for a couple of moments about how Kidogo considers and this issue of mindset, confidence, and motivation in the work that you all do?
Yeah, thank you so much, Alex. Allow me to start off. Speaking about the mindset and confidence and motivation of parents. I start off maybe by the issue of minimal encouragement, and we realize that parents or maybe even caregivers require a community for them to be able to encourage each other and function well, and also encouraging each other and also consulting each other on some of the issues they may be facing. So as a solution, Kidogo has what we call communities of practice, where caregivers come in and meet at least once or twice a month, depending on them, depending on the time they agree to, and sit down and discuss on the challenges that they're facing. And this one is done locally through the community. So it's a community-based approach that comes in from the community. So that's one way, or that is one solution that can help, in shaping or in advocating for the right mindset from parents. Talking about the issue of, dependency and reliance on, heavy and handouts. Let me just call them handouts. As compared to calling them rewards. It's a very big issue, especially where we work in. We work in urban informal settlements and peri-urban areas. It's a very big issue that, a challenge that has been brought out by, NGOs that have been existing before, and some that are still existing. And the big challenge is, how do you sustain some of these programs? Because program sustainability also heavily relies on the change of behavior from the recipient or the people who are consuming it. They need to have that behavior change. And honestly speaking, some of this, handout mentality, it's very big. It's a very big motivator to, parents to attend to a training session, parents to come in for a sensitization session, for parents or teachers, to even participate in research or data collection. It's very sad and it's very unfortunate. But Kidogo comes in as a social enterprise, which means that we're not NGO and we're not up for profit. But then again, we highly discourage the issues of issuing out handouts or rewards, because we look at the long-term sustainability of any program that we launch in the community. It has to have that community-centered approach. We have to look at the long-term sustainability bit of it. And what we try to do is, first, we try to work in with the very, very local people who have been assigned in those communities. In my context, or in our context, Kenya, we have people we call community health volunteers, who are like, community members who have volunteered to, ensure that the health of the community is good, children are doing good, and they're meeting their developmental milestones and such. So we work with such people who have a very great influence in their communities. And through that entry point, we don't come in as an NGO that comes to give out handout. And whenever we have any session, we don't give out any handouts, any reimbursements also, because we are really determined in ensuring that programs remains sustainable, and we are slowly driving out the issue of handout mentality because it's not sustainable and it does not contribute to any behavior change. Let me just allow Aisha to also say something.
Yes, thank you, Raymond. I was going to pass it right over to Aisha, but I think that the insight of diverting away from handout mentality before it even begins is a really crucial thing to think about here. Aisha, please, how does this work in the Lively Minds context?
Right. Thank you very much. So, talking about the mindset, confidence, and motivation issue here in Ghana, mothers often feel that teaching is the job of the school. They often feel that you need to have gone through formal education to be able to provide early childhood care and education for your children. We often hear these mothers say that, oh, I have not been to school. How can I teach my children? Education is the role of the school. However, on Lively Minds, we have a parenting course for these mothers. Irrespective of your age, irrespective of your education status, everyone is brought together, and these mothers are actually trained to provide teaching and learning for children at the kindergarten and villages in Uganda. So what happens is that these mothers come together, they learn about how to take care of children in terms of how to handle difficult children, how to handle children with disabilities, because the program is an all-inclusive program. And so these mothers are taught how to handle different types of children. They are also taught how to play these educational games with their children, and they attend the play schemes once a week to teach these children. And so it's kind of fascinating to watch how these mothers teach children when they, at the beginning, said that they haven't been to school. How can they teach their children? So Lively Minds actually break this myth that you don't need formal education to be able to provide early childhood care and education for your children. And so when we also talk about the lack of intrinsic benefit, these mothers often, although their parents, they do a good job sending their children to school, but what happens at home is much more important than what happens in school. Because here in Ghana, KG children only get to spend 4 hours of their time in school, and every other time is spent at home with these parents. So what happens with their parents is much more important than what happens in school. And what we do at Lively Minds is to teach these parents, both the fathers and mothers, what fun educational games that they can play with their children at home. And we encourage that as well. There's something we have that we call the parenting workshops as part of the parenting course. And at these parenting workshops, these mothers and fathers are taught time management, they are taught self-esteem, they are taught nutrition, a whole lot of courses that they undergo. And during these courses, they are given assignments, homeworks to do with their children, some fun games that they can play with their children. For example, there's this chat on nutrition. So there's some of them, they don't know how to naturally balance their meals for children. So they just give them, they feel that giving them food is enough, which is not enough. So as part of the nutrition parenting workshops, these parents are given a task. And that each day you provide protein for your children, you take. Each day you provide carbohydrates or fat and oil for all the other food categories you take. And the next parenting workshop they are coming, they will bring those homeworks back and they review together and then see what they can do to improve. So this is just the parenting workshop are what we use to encourage mothers to provide early childhood care for their children, and also the play schemes where this barrier or this myth that I haven't been to school is broken, and mothers provide full-time teaching, not full-time, but teaching for KG children in schools and in villages in Uganda.
Aisha,
Right.
Thank you very much. And I just wanted to take out two things that I really picked up on there that felt really important to me. So the first is that the anxiety, the uncertainty that a lot of parents face within the context is one of the major barriers of not feeling like they have the tools. And so one of the ways that Lively Minds works to combat this is almost through gamifying, like providing little checkboxes, things that are easy to do and breaking down the steps into more approachable tasks. Which is really great. I want to pass it over, and I'm going to keep it on you, Aisha. What are some of the barriers with cultural and social norms? I think you already talked about it a little bit. And because we are running a little long on time, let's try and keep it a little bit tighter. So maybe just one or two examples for social norms that really stick out to you. I've got you muted again, Aisha.
Okay, so talking about the cultural and social norms, one of the cultural norms we have is the fact that the roles for the parents are misinterpreted. And that means that in our part of the world, fathers often feel that, oh, early childhood care and education is the role of the mother, and my role as a father is just to provide and protect the family, which is a very huge barrier because in as much as these mothers are supposed to provide early childhood care and education, they are also involved in several other activities that you and I cannot imagine. They carry burdens that we can't even imagine, including providing early childhood care and education for their children. And so what we do at Lively Minds is to include fathers in the parenting course. So there's something we call the fathers course, where these fathers also attend parenting workshops once a term in 3 months to learn about early childhood development, to learn about nutrition, and so many other things, which I earlier on mentioned. Also, there's this cultural norm of lack of precedence where parents attending school or going to school to provide support to teachers is not known. It's something that is totally new. So what we do at Lively Minds is novel, and there's no relationship between these teachers and the community. The community actually see the school as a city that is responsible for providing education for their children, whilst the community is also a separate body. But here at Lively Minds, we have bridged that gap between the school and the community, and the community see the school as their own, because in as much as teachers come and leave the school will continue to stay in the school. So Lively Minds, we engage the community more. There's something we call community engagement. And at every parenting workshop, the teachers discuss community engagement, how the community have been supporting. The KG teachers and head teachers are also trained on how to engage communities, especially communities where the support for the program is not coming. They give them trainings on how to support communities. They also submit reports how these problems are happening. And in cases where the teachers are not able to actually address these issues, then the GES, which is the supervisory body, steps in to provide the support for the community. Yeah, so that is basically what I can say about the cultural norms.
Thank you very much.
Time permits, as long as time permits.
Absolutely. And Raymond, I'll ask you that same question. And I'm especially interested about the gendered expectations on your side, because Kidogo focuses on the mamapreneurs, right? So what about the papas?
Okay, thank you for that. First of all, just like my predecessor Aisha's mentioned earlier, we have this very innovative curriculum that emphasizes the need for the caregiver, or maybe you can call them the mompreneur, to engage the parent back at home, and the parent engaging back the mompreneur, to ensure that play-based activities are all around. That is, they happen in the center and they happen back at home. So that's one way in which we are trying to promote the culture and get rid of the previous social norms that discouraged parents, or maybe maybe put parents and teachers in a very compromising situation that they couldn't exist as friends. Keeping in mind that these two parties have the best interest of the child, we need to find a way of working together. So speaking of papapreneurs, in Kidogo now we have papapreneurs, and basically it's something that has really come up due to behavior change, and that is men observing caregiving is one, is a career that they can explore, and number two is something that is really enjoyable for them to do. So it's been very, very interesting. We are seeing more men coming out and doing the caregiving work. But it still remains a challenge in the context, and we are trying as much as possible to see how we can, help these populations adapt.
All right. Yeah. Thank you very much, Raymond. And are there any of the other social or cultural norms that you would like to speak on really quickly, or we can instead talk about the knowledge and skills, which was the other one that was really important to our group?
Yeah, I could briefly speak about the gendered expectations, and in our context, because we are serving urban informal settlements, as mentioned earlier, and because both parties, that is the father and the mother in a nuclear family, most of them will be working and they'll be engaging in different shifts. So you'll find that the mother will go in earlier, the father will come in later. So we've been able to see an increment in male participation, especially in caregiving and taking up responsibilities for children. So if the dad has been left with the child, and they have to take them back to the center for enrollment before they go back to work. They know how to pack in a fruit, they know how to pack in a change of clothes, they know how to engage the mamapreneur or the papapreneur once they drop their children to the center. So we are seeing more of that. It's not something that is very, very common yet, but we are slowly changing in the perception of caregiving in terms of gender specific. So both male and female in some of these contexts are feeling very well obligated to, take care of their children and address to their needs.
Yeah, great. Thank you. All right. So let's talk about our last one, which was about knowledge and skills and access to resources. So if you have one big takeaway of one challenge and then one way that Kidogo has approached this barrier, what would be the one that comes to mind for you?
Okay. We've really tried to have parent sensitization and engagement sessions. And this one basically are sessions where we invite parents to come in and we sensitize them on various topics, be it positive discipline, be it the importance of breastfeeding, be it the importance of nutrition, the importance of immunization. We do have these sessions. And one thing that I would say, some of the things that I would say are a success in Kidogo is, number one, localization of the context, because not everyone is English literate. They could be literate in terms of writing and reading, but not everyone is English literate. So we've tried to localize our content into the local language adopted in Kenya, that is Swahili, to ensure that the message is passed across. And also we have a dedicated team that does social media campaigns, mostly in Kenya. Most people in the urban areas have access to a smartphone. So most of them will be in these Facebook platforms and WhatsApp platforms. So we also try to leverage a lot on these platforms to ensure that we broadcast some posters with very, very key advocacy messages as a way of equipping these resources. But what really carries the day is, us as Kidogo advocating for use of localized materials. And this is usually a resource issue at first. So people will associate childcare with very expensive things, very expensive toys, very expensive play materials, and so on and so forth. But we're trying to come in and bring in lots of trainings on how to locally use different available waste materials, be it plastic, be it textile waste, into some play materials that children can engage in, and also trying to bring in the aspect of holistic development in it, ensuring that our audience are aware that material X and Y could help stimulate a child growth in terms of maybe language and social. So we try to bring in the aspect of of holistic development to ensure that our impacts are, impactful, and our impact are community based, our impact are locally and community driven, and our impact can and will always stay in the communities where they mostly need them. So this aspect ensures that an aspect of learning through play, for instance, continues at school, continues at home. And back to what I mentioned earlier on the issue of sustainability, this ensures that because these materials are available, be it paper waste, be it plastic waste or textile waste, they are available. So this will ensure that these materials can be made moving forward, and can bring the issue of sustainability to ensure that Kidogo as an organization remains sustainable, and our programs remain impactful and remain sustainable moving forward.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Those are really great insights, and really leveraging local resources, be that knowledge, be that physical, and even considering things that are normally considered trash to be a resource for learning, which is really incredible. So Aisha, I'll turn it over to you to wrap us up with one or two insights about knowledge and skills and resource access before we head back into breakout rooms and think about how this reflects for our own work.
Yes, so one of Lively Minds' key themes, just like he mentioned, is sustainability. Our program is designed in such a way that it's easy for communities and even mothers to be able to sustain. So one of the, just like my friend mentioned, mothers do not know that local materials they can use the local materials that are readily available in their environment to play with their children or to support their children's learning. So what we do at Lively Minds is to point out to these mothers and teach them how to use the materials that are available in their environment to make these games on their own, train them how to teach these games or how to use these games so that they can play at school, and when they are home, they can also play with their children. So I'm not going to talk much on this because of maybe time, but it's practically the same. We use the local environments that are already available, and mothers are taught how to use these games. They play these games with their children, both at home and at school. So Lively Minds have also realized that these mothers, they don't actually know that they don't think they have enough skills. They don't think they have the attitude to teach, but Lively Minds have reignited all of these skills. They have helped these mothers to build the skills. They have helped them to build the knowledge and the attitude they need to be able to teach and provide early childhood care for their children. Through parenting workshops, let me not forget that, because our parenting course and parenting workshops play a very key role for our programming. Yeah.
All right. Excellent. Yeah. So keeping that
Alex,
sustainability in mind.
sorry, can I?
Yes. Of course.
Alex, sorry, can I
Yes.
just see the slide before? I just missed one point, the slide before that.
We will send all the slides out to everybody at the end, but I'll be happy to.
Yeah, just now because I wanted to discuss some. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. No worries.
Yes, of course. So, just a quick wrap up, and of course, a quick wrap up and revision. So I want to say thank you to Aisha and Raymond for sharing their insights. And I think there's a lot in there, especially about activating and being sustainable, but also helping the parents understand what knowledge and capabilities they already have. And a lot of that is through activating mindset shifts and recontextualizing the information that they already have, which is really wonderful. So we're going to send you back into breakout rooms, and I would love for you all to take another 10 minutes or so to discuss how what you've just heard from our practitioners on the ground would reflect on your own work. Is there anything you want to know more about? Is there anything that you think they should know about? So what kinds of bridges can we build? So I'll send you back into those breakout rooms. You'll have another 10 minutes. And once again, I'll ask for you to have one main person to kind of record your thoughts from the conversation so that we can share when we come back into the main room. All right, I'll see you all in a little bit. All right, everybody, welcome back. I hope that you had an engaging discussion in your rooms. And once again, I would like to open the floor. So if you'd like to use the raise hand function so I can know who might like to share, what are some takeaways from the breakout rooms based on the conversations that you had there? You know, it's always a
Can
little
I
too
go
late.
continue?
Yes, please go ahead, Chui.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it was a very interesting discussion, and he put things on the table. We discussed and the similar is more about nutrition, use the cultural, the local resources, engaging the community for sustainability, and the institution is not only they can take care of the children, but also the families is a big institutional, and the good things starting in the family. A family who, caregiver, if being educated, maybe they can take care of the children. And once they starting from the family and come to the institutional, maybe it can be more easier. As well as engaging the leaders, changing their mindsets, and be active. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes. Would anybody else like to share a takeaway from this? Otherwise, we may, no, I'm sure we got more, please. I think it's time for us to turn it back to Alex and Eleanor to share some wrap-up thoughts and session summaries before we close out for the day. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll have time for the scenarios, which is too bad. So Alex and Eleanor, what are some thoughts that you might like to have our participants take away from this session?
Awesome. I can start, Eleanor, and if you'd like to wrap everything up. So just first of all, a thank you on behalf of HundrED, Lively Minds, and Kidogo for taking time to join. I know it's always interesting when you join an active webinar where we're asking your thoughts and your opinions and you to share back. So just thank you, everyone, for just showing up wholeheartedly and just coming from your context. I think some of the biggest reflections are just how, even though we have folks on this call from Tanzania, from Ghana, from Pakistan, from Lebanon, from South America as well, just how much of these challenges with parent engagement cross different cultural, socioeconomic, and country differences, but how much they are the same. So I think just a takeaway is how can we, as implementers, as folks in this space, continue to work together, to collaborate, and to learn from each other going forward. I think in my breakout room, Garana, hearing from the parenting app and just hearing how the app is actually not only allowing parents to engage, but also be active trackers in their child development. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. This is incredible. How can we adopt or learn from that at Kidogo? So I think, especially in such a time of division and intensity in so many other spaces, it's more than ever so critical that we come together to learn from each other and collaborate with each other. So looking forward to using this as a catalyst for more discussion and cross-learning. So thank you very much again, everyone, and I'll pass it over to Eleanor.
Yeah, and another big thank you from all of us at Lively Minds to everybody who's contributed today. And it was really great listening to Raymond and Aisha, who have that on the ground experience in a way that not many of us do, as to what really makes the change, what affects the difference that we want, and enables parents to feel that they are capable, that they're confident, and in fact that they're good at this, and that their role is really important. On my breakout rooms where it was really interesting, because the theme that keeps coming back again and again is this idea of the community engagement, the community involvement, the community participation in the design, in making sure that I remember seeing something recently which was about, rather than telling people what they want, what they need, they have to identify what they want. And so it's that working with the community to help them to say, well, what is it that you need and how can we work with you to ensure that? and how the involvement of, the community leaders or the chiefs or the faith leaders or the parent teacher association or whatever it is, sometimes you need that social proof, if you like, saying, look, this is a good thing. This is going to help our community. This is going to benefit us. This is going to improve the relationships between our school and the community, and so on. That community engagement is just so important. And another thing that I think has been really interesting is this idea that it's not, the Lively Minds model works like this, but others were saying it too. It's not just about the parent of that child. It's about everybody feeling they have a responsibility to support the young children that they interact with, to give them that really great start in life. So I've really enjoyed hearing everybody's thoughts and ideas from that as well. And I think what we really wanted to achieve today was to say, look, here's two organizations who are doing something with parents. These are the barriers they found. These are some ideas of things that worked, but by no means have they got it is it all sorted? Is there nothing that they could do better? And bringing everybody together to really say, well, this is what's happening for us and this is what we can do that's made a difference. And actually, we're still struggling here. I think that's what makes things like this so valuable, because you are sharing your expertise and continuing to learn from others. So thank you, everybody, for participating today. And thank you to HundrED for facilitating it.
Yeah, I really want to just reiterate what Eleanor said right there. Oftentimes when we are out there in the world and we're trying to make big changes, there's this push and pull between what we have to say, what we have to put forward, and the truth about what we're going through, what is a struggle, what is hard. And one of the things that HundrED really likes to put focus on is giving, honoring that struggle and making sure that we all understand that nothing is an easy road. Each of you, as people who are out there in the world trying to make a difference in young people's lives, understand that there are no easy answers. And so when we can convene spaces to come here and be honest and open about what is hard, what works, and what doesn't for us, it makes it richer for everybody altogether. So once again, thank you everybody for joining us today. It has been an absolute pleasure to spend time to learn about these barriers and to have a little bit of reflection. So on behalf of myself and on behalf of Lively Minds and Kidogo, you can find all of our websites here. We really look forward to continuing to talk and to collaborate. Our next community session is on Thursday. It's in Spanish and it's about funding innovations in Latin America. So if that is something that is very up your particular alley, we look forward to seeing you there. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining. And if you ever have any issues at all and you want to get in contact with me, have questions, anything like that, my email is alex@hundred.org. You can send me a message right there. But otherwise, thank you all so much, and we will see you all next time. Bye-bye.